I've been going over this for like 20 hours, doing my vetting. You know how I do my due diligence process. You've been through it. I put the pressure on you and your team and everything. You guys were great. We'll get into that whole part later when we touch on due diligence stuff. But I put a lot of time into this already, and it's still kind of tricky trying to figure out how all this stuff works. I mean, this is new technology mixed with like traditional kind of principles, but in a new way. And you guys, we can make up our rules as we go and make things better because it's decentralized finance. We get to, basically redefine the rules the way that we want. And the way you've redefined the rules here so far makes a lot of sense to me.
Brilliant. At the end of the day, we wanted to start off, as you said, conservative. I think everyone needs to stop shooting for the moon. It's not conceivable. It's not realistic. Once you've got your foundations laid and you can start building, then you can start thinking about climbing the ladder and reaching for the moon. But people have got to start being realistic in the world. I mean, I've told you before, we're on that little bend, ready for adoption. But the way the space is at the moment, it won't happen because a normie, as I call them, and including some of my friends who I mentioned earlier, they won't touch DeFi. They will not go near it because everything's scam, Ponzi, everything's offering 500,000, 10,000%. And it's just not realistic. And a normal person can see it's not realistic. It's only, I've been there myself, the likes of the people that get involved in the hype and they think, oh, yes, I found one. I found a golden one. It's not a golden one. It's just a piece of steel painted gold.
What, you mean 2% a day isn't realistic?
Yeah,
it's like
exactly. Not only 2% a day, but offer auto compounding. This just can't happen.
Wait, I thought I was going to have $10 billion from my $1,000 in 2 years. You're telling me that's not going to happen?
I remember being told I was going to have 15 Lambos in 12 months.
The Lambo calculator is the classiest thing that's ever come out of DeFi.
Yeah, we've got to start moving away from that. So that's why we come in conservative. We'll only offer what we've got the backing for and what we have in the treasury to offer. When we're at the peak of the bull run, we're obviously going to be able to offer some good returns, some very good returns. But then we always make aware to people, when the market drops again, we will be following the market. We will be following what we can give. What the Treasury allows us to be able to return is what we will return. And that's our whole philosophy. We'll never overstretch and never, ever overpromise. We'll always underpromise and overdeliver. That's what we're going to live by.
And literally, that's the way you're supposed to do it. I mean, I've been studying accounting really hard the past few months, trying to figure out how to set up my internal operations here at not only the Yabonks brand of businesses, but also I run a nonprofit 501c3 charity. It's I can't screw that up. And CPAs are expensive. My whole family, they're all CPAs. Luckily, I can bounce ideas off them, but like I still got to learn this stuff for myself and figure it out. And like one of the resounding principles of responsible accounting is conservatism. Always use conservative, like under promise and over deliver is the name of the game in finance. And the people who do just the opposite and they promise the world and deliver a rug pull, like they're it's basically a marketing scam. At that point.
And exactly what I touched upon is it's the people that get involved in the hype. And as I said, I'm guilty of it. I've been there. I've done it.
I still participate in those because you can make money on them if you know what you're doing. But it's so high risk. You could get totally wrecked overnight. I don't recommend it unless you're like a hardened veteran of DeFi.
Yeah, so I always give myself play money. So I've got my money that I use to live on. I've got my trading account. That's my bread and butter. I always make my money to live before anything else. And then a small 10% of what I make, I'll keep as play money. And I'll enter some meme coins. And moving into the bull run, AI is going to be absolutely huge. There's going to be a load of crazes come around. And yes, I am going to follow that craze and I'm going to get out. As you make money, but it's super risky. So yeah, I wouldn't advise unless you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's bad actors around, and we've got to change the narrative around DeFi, because the only way everyone that's in now will make it is if adoption comes, and adoption will only come when the space is a lot safer than it is right now.
Safer and more educated, because the space is growing by leaps and bounds. The amount of people coming into DeFi, it really hasn't it hasn't slowed down that much. Like we're at the exponential part of that S curve. Like the adoption's happening fast. You can't stop it. And it's like, how can we educate people more and more, faster and faster as they enter this space to protect them from like losing their asses before they find the cool stuff in DeFi? Like the people actually trying to build new ways to do finance, honestly, like to give themselves custody of their own funds, and give people control of their money again, and give people new ways to earn that previously were unavailable to the layperson like myself. Normally, like a lot of this stuff, only if you're a banker would you have access to some of these tools, but now it's like we can make the tools. We don't need centralized authorities telling us what to do. And there's a fine line there, though. We want our sandbox to play in and do whatever we want, but like we still don't want people peeing in the sandbox we're playing in. So it's like we still want to be able to like tell the teacher, hey, this kid, he just peed on my sandcastle, get him out of here. Like, how do we find that balance of a fun sandbox we could do whatever we want in, but also not fall prey to predators and wolves and scammers out here that are just trying to take advantage of everybody? Because that's a very real thing, and all new people skin their teeth on that at some point, and it hurts. And it's always just like, please don't be playing with the rent money here. Play with your, like you said, your 10% that you set aside for play money, your recreation, your disposable income. This is what I'm going to take to the casino on a Saturday night and get some drinks and put some in a slot machine. Boom. That's my DeFi money instead.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So,
exactly.
Man, and we'll dive into, like, we have a lot of shared philosophies, by the way. For anybody watching, Bevan and I have had already very long conversations on our shared philosophies. I've listened to all of his other AMAs, and we share a lot of the similar values, and we want a lot of the similar things for the DeFi space. We want to make it better. And like, I don't know, I like the people who are building earnestly, and it's like a network's forming of good actors, and the bad actors, once they expose themselves, they get shaken out. And it's like this network we've got just keeps growing stronger and stronger. And it's great. It's giving like everybody, all like the normal people out here trying to have some fun in DeFi, a really great selection of what I would call solid projects that aren't going to rug pull you. Sure, anything can go wrong technically, or macro environmental stuff like the markets and whatever, or luck. You know, there's luck involved. You can trade things incorrectly. But at the end of the day, I want like a dozen or 24 really cool projects that are like not going to rug pull me. And I know they're not going to rug pull or embezzle the funds without me knowing what's going on. Like, I want people who will run this honestly and give me just like a few DeFi games to play with my funds. And we share a lot of those same principles, I've come to find out.
Yeah, 100%. Even the first phone call that we took, it was very evident that we've got the same goal, 100%. And more people need to have that goal. It'll just make the space much better for everybody. I mean, if everyone can make safer money, then that money's even better. If there's less risk where you're putting your money, you can be more confident. And in this space, there's a big problem with mental health issues. Rightfully so. If you built a wallet up to 150, 200, 300,000, and then overnight you've had your wallet hacked, or you've made some bad plays, it's emotionally unstable, and it's very bad in the space, and it's something that we are very passionate about. I come from a mental health background, so it's something I'm very passionate about helping and changing in the space.
I come from somebody with mental health issues. So I come from the side of the coin where I am literally the archetype of a degenerate bipolar person with depression issues. I have all these issues. I'm bipolar 1, so I get manic. I over invest in highly risky endeavors. I start crazy businesses. I do all sorts of high risk stuff when I'm borderline hypomanic, right? And at the time, I think I'm a genius. I'm like, I'm going to be a millionaire. 15 Lambos this year. Here I come. And then I get rug pulled or something, or like slow rugged, which is even worse because it plays mind games with you. You're like, but they said, no, they're going to turn it around. Don't like, it's going to be okay. We're all going to make it. Right, guys? We're going to the moon still. Right, guys? What's wrong with the rocket? Why isn't it working? Why is my bag going down? I don't understand. The market cap looks great, but my bag is worth less and less. I don't get it. Oh, all of a sudden my $4,000 is now worth $400. I'm screwed. How do I tell my wife? No, I've got marital issues. That makes me more depressed, right? That's real stuff that people out here, and I'm lucky. Like the stuff I just said, it's all very personal, all very true. But like, I'm a lucky one because I have learned to de-hedge, to hedge my bets basically, and like not go all in anymore. Because those conversations with my wife sucked. And I'm like, I screwed up. And then my mental health just like destroys me. So like I have to keep myself in that, like, it's been a learning experience, man. And I don't want anybody to go through it. But the type of people who are attracted to the DeFi space because it is so high risk, high reward, they are the ones most susceptible to mental health issues and the consequences of those things.
Yeah, 100%. And
man,
that's what we're working towards, is to make that space a safer space for every individual. And that's what we need to strive for. We need to build that network of safe protocols that are all in contact with each other. They all know each other, and they can harbor a safe network for people to get in and be trustworthy of where they're putting the money.
Absolutely, man. It's so important.